Hello everyone, welcome back to my class. I hope everyone is doing good, safe, and sound. So, today we are going to learn a new topic that is just give me a minute, just hold on. Start the PDF slide. Yeah, so today we are going to start a new topic in communication itself, which is noise and barriers to communication. That is noise and barriers to communication. In the last class, we have learned what is communication, meaning, and features. Now we will learn what is noise, barriers to communication, and barriers to communication. So, without any delay, let's start. Noise. What is noise in communication? So, anyone? Anyone? What is noise in general? What is noise? Noise is something that is very disturbing, right? Suppose now if I'm teaching you and someone is shouting at the back of your uh, at the back, what that is, and that is a that is also a noise, right? Which means you are getting disturbed, your communication is getting disturbed. So, noise is any disturbance or interference in the process of communication that distorts, obstructs, or misinterprets the message between the sender and the receiver. If suppose if you are about to say, "How are you?" and there is some noise creation while you are texting me, "How are you?" and you write, "Where are you?" So, this is disturbance in communication. That means your message is getting distorted. It is being misinterpreted because you have written wrong. Now, coming to the key points of noise in communication, noise acts as a barrier to effective communication. If there is a noise, it's obvious there will be a barrier to communication. It occurs at any stage, encoding, transmission, or decoding of the message. So, this is a very important point. It can in UGC NET they can ask you, noise takes place at which level or which stage of communication. They will give you some options. You have to choose among those. Okay. It reduces accuracy because there is some noise, there is some hindrance, clarity to the message, and understanding of the communication. These are easy words. I hope you will be able to understand. Moving forward, what are the types of noise? Number one is physical noise, external sounds or environment factors. Example, traffic, construction, students talking. You are talking over a phone and you are in a busy road and there is a continuous horn, paw, paw, paw. What is that? That is a physical noise. Am I correct? So your talk is getting disturbed, your communication is getting disturbed. Coming to physiological. Physiological is some problem in your body. Suppose you're feeling hungry and at the same time you are studying. Will you be able to focus in your study? No. So that is a physiological noise. You're facing a headache and you're studying. Will you able to focus on your study? No. So that is a physiological noise. Coming to the psychological noise means any disturbance in your suppose emotions, mental distraction, stress, prejudice affecting understanding. You're talking to one of your friend and he's very happy or she's very happy and communicating you something, but internally you are feeling very emotional about some other matter. That is a psychological noise. Coming to the semantic noise, use of unfamiliar words, jargons, ambiguous language, or different interpretation. If you're using some technical words that a person is not able to understand, that is the semantic noise. You're using some unfamiliar words or jargon. Jargon means some technical word, some ambiguous language or different, or someone is interpreting differently. So this is a semantic noise. So noise is something, it is an hindrance for effective communication. When you are communicating something and noise occurs, that will create a barrier to effective communication. There are four types of noise: physical noise, physiological noise, psychological noise, and semantic noise. Moving forward, five types of noise. Physical noise, which is environment sounds, raining sounds, thunderstorm, barking dogs, sounds from fan, lights, and windows. Physiological, physical weakness and sickness, headache, deafness, talking fast or slow, high or slow temperature in room. Psychological, it differs in beliefs, attitudes, behaviors, sensitive issues relating to religions, financial crisis. Semantic noise, that means some jargon word, mispronunciation, special words, grammatical and wrong sentence. Also, cultural noise. Cultural noise is wrong explanation of the meaning, posture, gesture, eye contact, space, touch, and dress up. These are cultural noise. Am I clear? Okay, moving forward to the classroom communication. Now, classroom communication is very important, people, learners. This is the most important topic, one of the most important topic in your UGC NET category. So, like questions has been asked continuously from this topic, classroom communication. Effective classroom communication is essential for students to learn successfully and must be established from the early stages of education. Communication in the classroom generally falls into three main categories: verbal communication, non verbal communication, and written communication. Number one is the verbal communication. Verbal communication involves transmitting or receiving messages through spoken words or languages. Teachers can address either an individual student or the entire class verbally. A teacher instructing a student to stand up represents verbal communication. In classroom communication, communication can happen in three different ways: verbally, non verbally, and written. When a teacher says, "Hey, you stand up," that is a verbal communication. Coming to non-verbal communication, it refers to the exchange of message without using words, instead relying on a body language, gestures, facial expression, posture, tone, pitch of voice. A teacher nodding while a student speaks may signal agreement or encouragement. Suppose a teacher asks a question and a student is answering that question, and the teacher nods his head, which means yes, you are correct. That is a non-verbal communication. Coming to the written communication is the process of conveying information through written text. Teacher may assign written tasks to assess students' understanding or provide lecture notes or slides to explain complex topics. So that can be a written communication. A teacher is taking a unit test to see the level of understanding of the students in a particular topic. So that is a written communication. So classroom communication can be verbal, can be non-verbal, and can be a written communication. Moving ahead, the stages of classroom communication, which was given by Cole and Chain. In the previous class, we have learned one important thing about Cole and Chain. Someone who can say what we have learned? Anyone? I just want to see whether you were attentive or not. Yes, he talked about the feedback of the message. That feedback is an important step in communication. Am I right? Come for. We'll move forward what Cole and Chain has said. According to Cole and Chain, the process of classroom communication, similar to general communication, consists of five stages. Number one is the message formulation. That means the development of idea, information, what you are about to say, what you want to share. That is the message formulation. Number two is encoding. Suppose you have developed an idea what you want to share. Now you have to encode it into some symbol, into some idea, into words, symbols, or gesture. Okay, suppose you use hashtag at the rate. Okay, now you will transmit this message through a proper channel or a medium. Suppose you are transmitting it through use of internet. This is your channel. Now the receiver decodes the message and interprets the message. He now tries to decode the message and understand the message what you have spoken. Suppose you have said hi. Now he received the message, he decode the message and understands that you have written hi. Now after receiving the message, what he does, he provides a feedback and evaluation. Now what he does, he will just now this will move from hi, he understand the message, and then he will provide you the feedback that he has understood the message effectively and the communication was efficient enough. So the five stages of Cole and Chain classroom communication is: first message formulation, then encoding, then transmission, then decoding and interpretation, and then feedback and communication. Let's move forward to the technology and communication. This is also an important topic. Please understand carefully. Technology enhances communication by providing wider access to information and enabling interaction between teachers and learners, even across different locations. communication technology tools are in UGC NET category. What they ask is identify the different technology that can be used in classroom communication. He will provide the option like OHP, audiovisual resources, communication technology, and some other option that belongs to technology. And he will ask you which of these belongs to the classroom communication technology. So you have to opt the correct one. So some of the technological tools that are used in classroom communication is overhead projectors, audiovisual resources like recorded lectures, video lectures, computer technology like digital presentation, online classroom, virtual collaboration platforms. There are many more. We can search on internet and you can see what else are there. Otherwise, these are the three important ones. I have provided you the three important one. You can get many in PYQs also. I'll provide you the previous year question also, last 10 year previous year questions. But first, let us understand this unit properly. Okay, the three important tools used in classroom communication are OHP, audiovisual resources, and computer technology. Coming to the meaning of message design. What is message design? How do we design a message? Message design refers to the process of planning, structuring, and presenting a message to ensure that it captures attention and is understood correctly, minimizes barriers like noise, and prompt appropriate feedback or action. A well designed message should reduce communication failure, avoids ambiguity or misinterpretation, and ensures effectiveness of communication process. So the message should be designed in a way that it should be understood properly by the receiver. It should reduce communication failure. There should be no communication failure. There should be no ambiguity or misinterpretation of the message, and it should ensure effectiveness of communication process. So the message should be designed in such a way. Also, I would like to mention here there are 7 C's of message design. Like, what are the 7 C's? Anyone who can mention in comment section? I'll be happy. Keep commenting, I'll see your message and then I'll reply. Okay, so the message should be designed in such a way. These are very common 7 C's. Anyone who can tell me? I'm giving you 1 minute. Anyone? I'm waiting for you. Okay, so I'll tell you what are the 7 C's to communication. Number one, should I write it here? Write here for you. Number one is clarity. Clarity to the communication should be there, right? Number two is consciousness. Number three is the message should be correct. It should be complete. It should be concrete. It should be courtesy. It should be courteous. See, it should be coherence, and 7 is done. 7 is done. So understood what are the 7 C's of communication? There should be clarity to the communication. I'm sorry. There should be clarity to the communication. It should be concise, short and brief. It should be correct. There should be complete communication. It should be concrete. It should be courtesy, kindness, and coherent. Okay, the 7 C's to communication. Everyone who has given right answer, well done. Moving forward to the principles of message design from the UC NET taken. The following are the key principles that guides effective message design. Number one is clarity and simplicity of the message. The message should be simple, should be straightforward, and free from ambiguity. Use of the technical word, jargons, complex words, and confusing word sentence should be avoided. One message is equal to one idea is ideal for comprehension. For example, instead of saying, please expedite the process of submission of assignments to avoid academic repercussions, say, submit your assignment on time to avoid penalties. So there are some difficult words, complex views of complex words that people can't understand. So instead of saying such complex sentences, you can either say in a simple word, that is, submit your assignment on time to avoid penalties. Number two is the relevance and purposeness. The message should be clear, and relevant. Receivers need to understand the expectations and the context. Every message should answer the receiver why this is important to me. A teacher announcing a change in exam schedule must directly explain how it impacts students. So it should be relevant and purposefulness. The teacher should understand. In this message, teacher is understanding the context and she's explaining why and how it is impacting the students. Number three is audience centered approach. The receiver's backgrounds, knowledge level, emotion, and preference must be considered while designing a message. The choice of word, tone, examples, and format should match the audience understanding, hence, in reducing psychological and semantic noise. Technical terms may work in a professional seminar but confuses a lay audience. Suppose you are in a conference and you are talking something using jargons, but the audience sitting here may not understand what you are talking about, right? So it should be audience centered. It should be talked in a way, in a layman language, so that the audience can also understand. So it should be framed in a way giving importance to the preference, the emotions, the knowledge level of the audience also. Coming to the fourth point, I'm sorry, consciousness. Avoid unnecessary details that may distract or overwhelm the receiver. It should be straightforward. It should not be such that it is you are moving round and round and round and creating any type of confusion. It should be straightforward and avoid any type of distraction. Short, structured message should be arise. Bullet points in a PowerPoint is more effective than long paragraphs. See how I've written. I have used some points, right? Instead of writing in a paragraph form that may create confusion for you, I'm also using here key points. So my message is very constant. It is concise, it is short, it is structured. Coming to credibility and accuracy, message must be factually correct, trustworthy, and backed by reliable information. It should be credible, it should be accurate that the receiver can or the audience can trust you. False and exaggerated claims damage credibility and leads to misinformation. Example, a research paper must cite authentic sources to consider it valid. Suppose you are writing a research paper and you've written one sentence. Instead of citing the correct source, what you have written, written someone else, you have cited someone else paper. So that is not credible, that is not authentic, that is not accurate. So it should be in a such a way that it should be correct, trustworthy, and backed by a reliable source. Coming to the feedback mechanism, I've already made you understand that how important feedback is, that there should be feedback to every message. Coming to proper medium selection, there should be a proper medium selection. The right channel should be selected, whether it should be face to face, it should be digital, through a media, because the medium also affects the choice of the media, also affect the efficiency of the message. A phone call may be a better for urgent information than an email, because maybe the person is not checking his email. So a phone call will give an instant response. Emotional appeal and empathy. There are two words: sympathy and empathy. Sympathy is consoling someone, right? Showing that I'm feeling very bad for you. People don't understand like this thing. Empathy is to understand, and this is very important, to understand someone, to empathize. Message designed with empathy connect better with the audience. Consider emotional tone to avoid and misunderstanding or negative impact. Saying, I understand this change may be difficult for you, builds rapport compared to a blunt statement. Okay. Coming to repetition, reinforcement, redundancy. Repeating key points in different forms, spoken, written, and visual, help in reinforcing and understanding, particularly important in education and training context. Now here also, I'm making you understand through text also, through image. I've used somewhere images also, that so that is a reinforcing. I'm trying to reinforce you, reinforce the message. I'm trying to reinforce the knowledge in you through speaking also, through writing also, through reading also, through visually using image also. So that is repetition, reinforcement. So am I clear? The principle of message design, it should be clear, clarity should be there, it should be relevant, it should be audience centered. I'm sorry. It should be concise, it should be credible, it should use feedback mechanism, proper medium selection should be there, emotional appeal and empathy should be there, it should reinforce the audience, right? So the message design principles are also done. Now we will come to barriers to communication. So this is also a very important topic. What are the barriers to communication? Barriers to communication. What is barriers to communication? I've explained you previously. The noise, anything that is causing destruction between the communication. That is barriers to communication. Communication is a cornerstone of human interaction, allowing the exchange of ideas, emotions, and information. Despite its importance, effective communication is frequently obstructed by various barriers. These barriers interfere with the flow of message, altered with intended meaning, and leads to misunderstanding. In this discussion, we will explore common barriers to effective communication and examine strategies to overcome it, thereby promoting stronger connection and clearer understanding in both personal and professional settings. So, types of barriers: language barriers, cultural barriers, emotional barriers, physical barriers, perpetual barriers, semantic barriers, and physiological barriers. Let me explain you. Coming to the language barriers. Language barriers means where the sender and the receiver do not have a common language. I speak Hindi. You speak English. We don't understand each other's language. So this leads to language barriers. Use of foreign or unfamiliar language. Using of technical words, jargon words, poor vocabulary or incorrect grammar, incorrect use of grammar, regional dialectic differences. A teacher use advances technical terms for the beginners, causes confusion and ineffective communication. Emotional barriers, which means emotional barriers are psychological states or feelings that interfere with the ability to communicate effectively. Suppose I'm angry, I'm hungry. So that will create barrier to communication. I'm sad, I'm overexcited. Lack of emotional control while speaking can create barriers to communication. Coming to cultural barrier means difference in beliefs, values, tradition, norms, and custom. So this can cause a cultural barrier. Example, difference in nonverbal cues like gesture, eye contact, personal space, variation in customs and social etiquettes, different worldwide or religious values. Suppose the foreign people follow different cultures, we follow different cultures in India, so there is a cultural barrier. They wear western clothes, we wear Indian clothes, so this is cultural barriers. Coming to semantic barriers means using of words, phrases, or symbols which is which is misunderstood by the sender and the receiver. That is use of ambiguous words, use of technical words. So and language barriers are kind of similar. Misinterpretation of the tone. So these are some of the semantic barriers. For example, the word disciplines could be understood as a field of study by one person and punishment by another, leading to confusion. Suppose I'm using discipline word, so discipline can be a form of field of study, right? And for some other person can understand it as a punishment, like you don't have a discipline, please maintain discipline. So this can also create semantic barriers. Moving forward to barriers. Physical barriers means environmental barriers, environmental factors, noise coming from outside, distance. There is a distance between the two person. Inadequate infrastructure like poor lighting, ventilation problem. This is physical barriers. Network, technical glitches in digital communication. If we both are talking, we are having a video conversation, then video call conversation, and the internet is poor, that is physical barriers. A teacher speaking in a noisy classroom where students cannot hear instructions clearly, that is physical barriers, which is environmental factors. Coming to perpetual periods arise when individuals interpret the same message differently based on their past experiences, mindset, assumption, or viewpoint. Now, suppose some incident took place. Okay, some you had a bad experience in the past. Maybe one person can take it as a lesson that maybe I will not repeat this again. That can bring positivity in it, whereas the other person can take it negatively and he will avoid doing those things, right? So the bad experience can be inferred or can be perceived by two peoples differently. One can take it in a positive way and the other can take it in a negative way. Selective perception means paying attention to only certain parts of the message. Suppose I have provided you 5 topics here, or I have explained you 5 topics here, but maybe you are selectively perceiving it. Only you are understanding or seeing the or video recorded only for those topics which you want to see, which you want to select. So that is selective perception, which you want to learn, right? Stereotyping means, perceiving a person's features on the basis of, but perceiving a person characteristics on the basis of what others are also saying. That is stereotyping. Differences in knowledge levels leading to different perception interpretation. Suppose a PhD scholar will interpret a thing differently, and a master student will perceive a concept differently. Right? He will perceive the research paper in a more critical way, and he will perceive it at a basic level. Two students receive the same feedback from teacher. One sees it in a constructive criticism, while the other feels personally attacked it attacked. So one can see it as a motivation, and the other can feel it personally attacked. Coming to the next one, that is psychological barrier, that is related to attitudes, beliefs, that is behavior, which means low esteem, lack of confidence, prejudice or negative attitudes towards a sender or a message, close mindedness, stress and depression. Student who distrusts the teacher may ignore the instruction even they are beneficial. So psychological barriers, that you have already created an mindset. You already have that mental state in your mind, or you have created that attitude or belief or that behavior to behave in a certain way. So that is a psychological barrier. Coming to the physiological barrier is relating to your body. You are hungry and you're not able to pay attention. That is physiological period. Or biological conditions: hearing loss, speech disorders, fatigue, illness, memory loss, physical disabilities that affect non-verbal cues or responsiveness. An employee while with hearing difficulty may misinterpret verbal communication during a meeting. Okay? These are physiological barriers. So, what are the barriers of communication? The hindrances: language barrier is due to the use of different language between the two people. Emotions due to the psychological states of feeling. Cultural is related to the different beliefs, tradition, norms. Semantic is due to the use of different words, phrases, or symbols, use of jargons word. Physical barriers is due to the environmental factors. Perpetual is due to the past experiences, the interpretation of the message differently. Psychological is due to the mental state or attitude, belief, behavior of the people, and physiological is due to the physical impairments or biological conditions. So these are some of the barriers of the communication, and question also arises from these topics very much. This is also a very important topic. Types of barriers. Now, okay, we will learn this slide and then we will end our session here. Okay, we have measures to overcome barriers in communication also. Okay, let's learn till here, then I'll end the session. Coming to the abstracting, it can also be referred. These are some of the terminologies, some of the terms that we learn. Abstracting. It is also referred to as selective hearing, which means you only listen to what you want to listen, and you just ignore the other parts. That is selective hearing. Emotional editing. It is an attitudinal period based on your personal feelings about a person or a topic. Uh, Suppose a person is saying someone very bad, a person is saying be very bad, very bad, very bad, but you have a positive experience with that person, so you have a very personal feeling about that person, so you interpret him in that way. So it is based on your personal feelings about a person or a topic. Am I correct? So that is emotional editing. Prejudice is the act of excluding or disliking someone or something because they belong to a particular group, because people are talking about him like that. He, like, there is a group of, suppose, 8 people, and one person in this group is very annoying, and this person, he is good, but he belongs to that group. So on the basis of that, you are judging this person as also annoying. So that is prejudice. Means you are disliking someone because he belongs to that particular group. So that is a pre-assumption about someone. Am I correct? So abstractive Abstracting is selective hearing. Emotional editing is based on your personal feelings, and prejudice is about disliking someone because you belong to that particular group. Coming to the passive person, aggressive person, and assertive person, we'll talk about. We'll take this page later. First, let me explain you measures to overcome barriers in communication. What are the measures? How you can overcome the barriers? By developing strong relationship between the people, by purposefulness and focused communication. That means it should be short, clear, goal oriented. Right, coordination between the superior and the subordinate. There should be a coordination between the sender and the receiver, and avoiding technical jargons, which means use of technical words. That is that a layman use of layman language. Don't use complex word. Avoid complex word. So, by avoiding technical jargons, by coordination, by focused communication and building strong relationship, we can overcome barriers to communication. Also, encouraging feedback. If you are encouraging feedback, the sender will understand if you are able to interpret the message he wants to. If not, then he'll again contact you. He will again send you the message. So, that encourage by encouraging feedback and maintaining accuracy. That means authentic. So, if the message is accurate, confusion is avoided, this will lead to effective communication. And effective communication means no barriers. Okay? So, measures to overcome barriers in communication are building strong relationship, focused communication, coordination, avoiding technical words, encouraging feedback, and maintaining accuracy. So, for today, I'll end my session here only. I hope you have understood everything. What do you mean by message design, the principles of messages? No, this one, right? What is barriers to communication, types of barriers to communication, also the different types of barriers to communication, what is abstracting, emotional editing, prejudice, and how to overcome those barriers. Please give a reading to all this, and if you have any confusion, you can ask me. Till then, keep studying, keep smiling. I'm ending the session here, guys. Bye.